All right.
Okay.
It's slow, Becky.
So thank you,
you
everybody.
guys.
Well, let's get started. That we're here on Monday, the 24th of August, and we have we were talking about going forward. There's going to be a credit to our new hosts when they get 3 bookings from their show. Now, the bookings are going to be attached to you personally. You were the consultant, and these are the bookings from the party you held for Susie. And now Susie has 3 friends. When their parties are held and submitted, she is now going to have a $50 credit. But a lot of people end up flipping a potential host into a new consultant. So if somebody else did the party, it would not necessarily count as 3 bookings. But Becky, tell us what you came up with.
Okay, so you want to keep your customers until you're really ready to branch them off. So I would have them do a $200 party that gets them $25 credit. Then immediately close that show, get them signed up, and you can do this within like 30 minutes, and have them sign up to be a consultant. $25 can immediately be applied to their kit cost, and your past host now has her 3rd booking. That gets her $50. So you are out of the pocket nothing. So that's what I would do, is I would.
So if we are all.
I think that is brilliant, Becky, because then you're saving the booking in the system. You're not flipping that hostess until she has the kick credit in her cart, which can happen at a $200 party and have the $25 kick credit. But in the worst case scenario, you end up with a new consultant on your team. It is worth you getting the 3 bookings, but one of them becoming a consultant on your team. So worst case scenario, you can still give your past host the $50 credit, but it would be something to be aware of.
And you know what, Marie, I was going to say, it's probably,
I
was going to say it's a good thing to train your team this way, because not all consultants are able to offer that $50 credit. So I would definitely say that this is something that we should do for, and when we start training our teams to do that, so that they are well aware of this. And Cora has something, but she's muted.
Oh, I muted everybody because there was a bunch of background noise,
Okay.
right? So you're going to have to unmute when you want to say something.
Okay, so when we set up on Monday for the party to start on Friday and she flips, it's like Becky's saying, then we'd almost have to say to her, hey, for your past host to get that extra $50 because you were her 3rd booking, can you gather $200 and we'll use kit credit, right? So we're almost going to have to give her a heads up because she's going to want to flip it, start her party. So we're going to have to let her know what's going on.
Yeah, it's just all communication. I just did this recently with a consultant. She knew she wanted to come back to the business, and I said, okay. So I said, let's run your party till you hit $300. I said, and then we're going to flip it, launch you, put your new link up. And that's what we did. And I finished running her party, but we added that second link. We took off the old one because I closed it. We added the new one, and we said, congratulations, our host just became your consultant. I'm still going to be here and help run her first party. But if you think about it, I still made a little money on that small party.
Oh, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Gained a new consultant.
Yeah. Oh, I'm fine.
Qualified in less than 30 days. So I got my trip points. She got all her rewards. I got all my rewards. And everybody was happy. And she got all the bookings.
Yeah.
Nobody booked in this amount of time. So she got everything here.
Now, Becky, Marna and Paula and a couple other people have taught us that before you close out her party, there's a way to keep the link exactly the same. And that is right before you close out her $300 show,
Right.
you go in and you edit the show link and you change it to something else, and then close out the party and then reopen it with the original show link that you had created. So then from the customer
Right.
viewpoint, the link did not change, but in the system you did it so you can actually use the same exact link.
Yeah, I like having separate links. That way then I know I can track my parties and then I can track their first parties.
Okay, love it.
Great. Well, Patty, you're going to introduce our spotlight speaker, and or
Wait,
Nancy
can I-
Joe, I hear you. Do you want to say welcome to everybody?
Yeah, welcome everybody. Just want to say thank you for your prayers. Just want to open this up and let everybody know that they got all the cancer. Praise God.
Yay.
Yay. It is an aggressive cancer, so they're going to watch me like a hawk, but they said that they very rarely catch it in stage 1. So I'm very, very grateful to God. Oh, glory to God. Anyway, but you won't see my face for a while. It's a little brutal, but it's okay. So please pray. I'm going to go back for another consultation in 2 weeks, and we're going to make next step decisions. But I just thank you for everybody for being so patient and for prayers. They were answered. They were answered. So the other thing I wanted to mention is people are talking about adding a lot of people to the party that you think maybe that didn't even order, adding them as potential bookings so that you can go back and add a booking if someone also pops as a consultant from your 3 parties. So that is going to take a little bit of work. But if you have them in the system, you can add the booking after the fact. You just have to have them in the system before the party closes. That's another, not angle, but another way to work around this 3-party booking, $50 booking. Because say if you have Marie and Patty and Paula all book a show and Paula decides to join the business, if you have other people in there, you can add them as a party if they're willing to have a show. So so anyway, that's another angle that we're going to really need to put all those bookings in there, because right now you can, if they are attached to that party, you know, you can just add it and somebody's going to get the half price item. So anyway, just wanted to add that one thing as well. So Marie or Patty, go ahead and
Okay.
introduce Anna. Thank you.
Yes, I am excited. Wait, let's spotlight her, the woman of the hour here, literally the woman of the hour. Anna, we are so excited. She did a little something for us, for our teams back in the meeting after our after conference training, and we're excited to have you. This girl was on the team, so she's going to give us a little insight to that, but she's actually going to be making pizza. She's going to talk about the pizza peel, and she's going to talk about the enamel cookware, and she's going to talk about the new baking stones. And I am thrilled. Here is a girl with over 1.6 million in sales, so she has an amazing show average. That's why she was picked. We are delighted that you are here, and I am just going to go ahead and give you the floor, Miss Anna. There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, we are good.
Can you guys see okay? Because I actually have a chair here that I can move it up. Like, will you be able to see? Can you see this counter okay?
We can see you.
Okay. It's hard for me to tell in here. So thank you guys for inviting me to come and do this for you today. When Patty asked me to talk to you guys today about the new products and about the new product experience and stuff, I know one of the first things that I said to her was, I know that I've gotten lots of messages and text messages and questions about the peel and people struggling with the peel. So I told her that I'd be happy to do a pizza this morning just to kind of show you guys little tips and tricks with the peel, because this is really important for you to want to pass on to your guests, because the last thing that you're going to want is to have your guests totally frustrated with this beautiful peel that they just purchased, you know, because you know that's not a We don't want to add to any frustration, right? That our customers are having. So that's one thing that I was going to do. But I know that Patty Marie and Nancy Jo are kind of monitoring the chat also. So any questions that you guys have about any of the products, like just because yes.
Off the start, one of the things that I'm hearing is that the new stones perform differently than our old stones. So people were complaining about the results they were getting. So that preheating part is like really important on pizza is what I'm hearing. So otherwise their pizzas are not done. So make sure that you cover that in the explanation.
I will. And I whoever made the comment that that the pizza peels are, or that the stones are, it's my friend Holly, just anybody that's having like a difference in the cooking experience with the stones, I would love for you to elaborate on that more, because we did everything from dessert pizza. I mean, like we did everything. Like I cooked on stones for 4 freaking months, like crazy. Just so that we could make sure that we were mitigating any issues that we had or embracing anything that we needed to change. So I would love for you to elaborate a little bit more on that. I will say, no, it's fine. I will tell you that if it's not something like pizza, you know, or roasted vegetables, you know, things like that, that's what you want to preheat it for. It's not going to make any difference at all if you're doing chicken nuggets or French fries or, anything, any of the little frozen foods. And they actually did a bunch of testing in the test kitchen of cooking exactly the same thing with, the same little frozen foods with preheating and not preheating. And they found absolutely no difference at all. So the preheating is really mainly for like bread type things. It doesn't work for desserts, like if you're doing anything like our cakes, like you don't want to preheat it for that. The preheating is for things like crescent rolls or veggies. Like veggies is probably my favorite. Like I've definitely gotten addicted to the air fryer with the veggies, doing them in there, roasting the veggies. But honestly, I'm preferring the veggies roasted in the oven on the bar pan, because it like literally creates like, I think Carolyn on our product team, the 4 of us, I think she called it veggie candy, and that was totally perfect, because it like creates this crispy side, and like I'm kind of a freak, so I make sure all the cut sides of the veggies are down. So the cauliflower and the broccoli, that the cut side is down and not like the the pretty part, because then it literally sears the bottom side of that, and it does. It like creates veggie candy. It's so freaking good. Like it's really, really good. So anyway, so let me get started on the pizza part. I'm going to give you guys a couple of ideas, from sales to if you do live demos or even recorded demos in your virtual parties, things that you can kind of bring in and talk about, and things that you can share with your team. So one of the most important things that I want to tell you guys is, if you did not take the Teach Me webinar on the stoneware, definitely do that, because it was very well thought out. The 4 of us did it. It was me, Emily, Carolyn, Jill, and then Jackie moderated it for us. And it was very well thought out. The other thing I would highly recommend is maybe even do that as a team activity on Zoom, to make sure that they are getting the correct information. Because those of us that have been with Pampered Chef for a while know that we still get customers that go, well, I thought stoneware, my consultant told me stoneware had a lifetime guarantee, right? So we want to make sure that they are not misinformed. Not all the rules are out the window. The 2/3 rule, which is the most important rule, is still there. Actually, there's 2 main important rules. The 2/3 rule is still there, and thermal shock is still there, in terms of taking that hot stone and putting it under cold water, or taking a stone from the freezer and putting it in a hot oven. Refrigerator, they say, is fine. Freezer is not okay. So those 2 main rules still apply. So what I did when I got this pizza crust ready this morning, and again, you guys are going to want to bring this guy in, because it is the easiest thing. I'm going to do it, and she's probably going to answer me, because I'll just go, like, I doubled my pizza crust recipe, right? And so I just said, Alexa, how much does 8 cups of all-purpose flour weigh?
8 cups of flour weighs about 1,000 grams.
So she'll tell you exactly what you need. You can ask her the same thing for sugar. So if you've got an Alexa, just ask her, because it is so much faster, so much easier, and so much cleaner to just stick a bowl on here, tear it, and add whatever you need to it. So literally that's what I did. Same thing with the salt. Once I put the flour in there, I teared it, and then I was like, I asked her, I'm not going to do it again because she's annoying, but I asked her again, like how much does, you know, I can't remember what it was, 4 teaspoons of salt or whatever it was. And I just sat there and sprinkled salt until it reached that amount, and then I was done. I had 1 bowl, which is in the sink over here. Look, like literally 1 bowl, okay, that I measured everything into. Then I stuck it in my KitchenAid blender. So here's the next trick. Use your quick cooker to proof it. I want you to look how beautiful this is.
Oh.
Okay, so use your quick cooker to proof it. Here it is, right here. I proofed it for 30 minutes and I just left it sitting in there. Next little trick, put parchment paper in there. Now I doubled it, and I don't normally double it because I'm making the pizza that I want to make. Oh shoot, hang on. Okay, there we go. I wish we would come back with our parchment paper that was so much better than anything else we can buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll just flip it on here. And take it off the parchment paper.
Anna, they're asking about your dough recipe. Maybe if you have a chance, we can add that.
Oh, yeah. So, in fact, I can tell it to you really quick. And if you want to put it in the chat. I love this dough recipe. And this dough recipe is, it's 3 to 4 cups of flour. Oh, I thought I knew it by heart. Hang on, where's my, here it is. It's 3 to 4 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of warm water. You want it at 110 to 120 degrees. If it's active dry yeast, you want it between 130 degrees if it is instant yeast. Then you need 2 teaspoons of sugar and 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast or instant yeast. I am waiting for clarification, honestly, on the recipe that is on the Pampered Chef website for the pizza crust, because it's different from what Tim gave us in that it says 1/4 teaspoon of active dry yeast. And ours says 2 1/4. So I'm still waiting for confirmation on that. I sent it in to Tim last week and I didn't get it. So I'll find out. But mine is 2 1/4, which would be 3 of the little packages, right? Of the, you know, like 1 whole little strip of the yeast. And then you mix that together. So you mix the water, the hot water, the yeast, and the sugar together. If it's active dry yeast, you want to let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes after you mix it because you want it to get kind of foamy, which it really does. So wait till it gets a little foamy, and then add in your oil, which is 2 tablespoons of oil, 2 teaspoons of salt, and then 3.5 to 4 cups of flour. And you can use either bread flour or all-purpose flour. I do find that when you use bread flour, it rises higher and you don't have to use as much flour. So just know that there's kind of a variation there with that. All right, so the next thing I do, obviously you can use your pastry mat, and then I recommend that you have 2 of the flour sugar shakers, 1 of them for flour. Oh, that one has cornmeal. I had the right one. 1 for flour and 1 for cornmeal. So there is a reason that they say to use the cornmeal. And this was something that I learned that I thought was really interesting. And that is that, so whenever you are kneading something, do you realize what you guys are doing? Well, I'll answer because I know all of you guys are me. So basically you are pushing the you're pushing the moisture into the flour. So whenever you are kneading your bread or even rolling, you know, any of your dough out, hang on, I gotta split this because I forgot I'm doing 2 here. Even if you are rolling your dough or kneading your dough, you need that pushing that you're doing, okay, whether you're doing it in the machine or you're doing it by hand, to push the moisture into the flour. So the reason that you use cornmeal on the peel is because it takes a lot more effort to get that moisture pushed into cornmeal than it does flour. So that's why you don't want to use flour on the cornmeal, because it starts to absorb the water too quickly and will cause it to actually stick to the peel. Does that make sense? Okay, so have 1 with flour, have 1 with cornmeal. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out. You can do this 1 of 2 ways. Again, I kind of like doing it this way because then you can then you can, I'm gonna take some more of this off or it's gonna make an enormous pizza. Because then you can show them the pastry mat and either the baker's roller or the rolling pin. All depends upon what's available right now, right? So just kind of roll this out a little bit. And then I always end up just kind of stretching it more by hand, which I kind of sometimes feel is a little more effective. All right, so next we're gonna put our cornmeal on the peel. And this is where you want to be super duper duper generous. Now, my stone is already in the oven preheating. Okay, and I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see how much I put on there? Okay, like you can't have too much. Make sure you have a good dentist, but you can't have too much, right? All right, so we've got our dough. If you want to take your dough like this and fold it in 4, and then pull it on here, then you're ready to dress it. Now, you can continue to kind of stretch it and make it a little bigger. So one thing I want to show you guys, oh, well, here it is. So one cool thing about being on this, I don't know what you call it, this committee or whatever, is they send this stuff to us like end of February, beginning of March, and they really do listen to us guys. Now, some stuff we couldn't change because it was already kind of in production, but this was the original pizza peel, and if you look at it, I don't know if you can see the difference in the size and then the thickness, and we were all struggling with this crazy peel. Like, we could not get the pizza to come off this peel, so they made it, if you can see this one, how much thinner and much bigger. So they really do listen to what we say, because I know that sometimes we get a little frustrated with, you know, gosh, why did they do it that way, or why didn't they do it that way? They really do listen. All right, so I do kind of a different variation of the white pizza, and that I do still put a red sauce on there. Oh, shoot, I forgot something. Hang on a minute. Let me get this. I gotta show you guys this as a little trick. All right, so this is the garlic and the olive oil that I'm gonna brush on here, but I'm gonna show you guys another trick that we figured out when we were doing all the different test pizzas, and I'm just gonna spread this around. And that is, if you take, oh my gosh, the garlic rub, okay, and you put it on the edge of the stone. Okay, have you ever had those pizzas that have like that crunchy, yummy garlic right on the edge that's so good? Okay, our garlic rub is perfect for that. And not only that, it kind of makes it brown real pretty too. So that's one way that you can bring the rub into it, all right? All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of my red sauce on here. Okay, so while I'm doing this part, Patty, are there any questions on what I've done so far? Patty has not left the building, right?
It says, if I was a guest, I'd be buying every product you're showing.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, why did you use the scale if you have the recipe in cups and tablespoons again?
It's easier. You just dirty one bowl. So like you put the scale down, put the bowl on it, and you tare it, which means you put it to 0. And then you ask, you know, whatever device you have, how much each of these things weighs. And then you just sit there and spoon it into the bowl instead of having like all these different measuring cups that you're measuring into a bowl, right? Then you got it all in the bowl. Then I tared it again, which means I put it to 0 again. And then when I put it to 0 again, I was like, how much does, you know, 4 tablespoons of salt weigh? And then I just added the salt to that bowl, you know, until I added that many grams of salt. So, I mean, it just makes it less to clean, you know, less.
Great idea. Love that, Anna. Yeah, I love that.
I love about the scale. And I'll tell you guys, the little trick with the parchment paper in the quick cooker, use that for the bread too. So like if you're making any breads, put the parchment paper in the quick cooker, and then grab a knife, and then put your dough in there. And then again, it's just one less thing you have to clean because you just pull the whole parchment paper out. I'm all about easy, guys. Like it's kind of a nutty house around here, and so I'm all about easy. and dirty, and like I love to use the products, but if I don't have to dirty as many dishes, then I'm totally all in.
So
All right.
you use the entire the quick cooker. You put it in the stainless thing. So some people said that you got to put it in the ceramic pot.
I put it in this, no. Well, again, we're a family of 6, sometimes 9. So, one batch of dough doesn't do anything in this house. So I pretty much double everything, and that includes bread. So I always do it in the big stainless pot. If you were doing a smaller version of it, then yeah, you could totally do it in the ceramic pot. That would not be a big deal at all.
Okay, so you have a couple questions. Do you put garlic olive oil
I do. So I
on
brush
the crust before the garlic rub, or is that too much? So you put it on before? Do you put on the garlic olive oil before you put on the garlic powder?
Our garlic rub, it's like the chunks of garlic. That's what we put around the outside.
Got it. Okay.
It's like that crunchy, and I love it. But I love garlic. So like that kind of crunchy, caramelly kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of flavor to it. All right. So I did have to cheat today and buy already grated Parmesan cheese because, believe it or not, our grocery store had no blocks of Parmesan cheese. I was kind of blown away. So but I stuck it in a bowl and made it kind of look like it.
Well, you could have never said anything and we would have believed you.
All right, so then we're gonna put our cheese. Okay, so I'll give you guys another little hint. If you are doing more of a veggie pizza, you are going to want, excuse me, to put, if you're doing mushrooms, put your mushrooms on last. You know why? They produce too much water. And so if you put them on last, then it's not going to get your pizza soaking wet, and kind of mess up. I'm just going to do this right now.
Okay, Paula was asking if you ever put string cheese on the edge of the pizza and rolled it to have stuffed cheese crust pizza.
Okay, so I will tell you, we tried that. A couple little tips on that. Because this pizza cooks so fast, because you're preheating the stone, if you put a whole thing of string cheese in the crust, it doesn't melt.
Oh.
So you have to do like a half. Like you have to do a half a thing of string cheese. So we didn't try that. Okay, so here's another thing, and again, I cheated because I didn't have time to do it this morning, but I will roast eggplant, and there's a mixture, and Patty, if you remind me, I'll share it. It's a eggplant dip. Oh my gosh, I call it eggplant crack because I love eggplant, but it's with bell peppers and onions and stuff. But I'll roast it and I'll throw that on the pizza too. I totally cheated today because I didn't do this last night, and I'll show you guys. If you ever want just kind of a fun thing to add to your pizza, this eggplant appetizer is amazing. It's so good. So I'm adding this eggplant appetizer to this as well, because this is my pizza. My husband's the only other one that likes eggplant here, so I figure this will be our lunch.
Might as well.
Okay, so this is a pretty loaded pizza. So that's the other thing I'm gonna tell you guys. One thing, wait, let me wash my hands. So one thing is, you wanna do this kind of quick. You don't want to let this last too long, because if not, like I said, that moisture will start to interact with the cornmeal. All right, hang on, let me move this chair. I put this chair here in case y'all hear it. And then let me spin you guys around here so y'all can see the oven. All right, so here we go. Pull this guy out. Okay, can y'all see? I'm hoping y'all can see. Okay, one other little tip. When you go to preheat the stone, guys, make sure you have the side of the stone with the lip on the back side, okay? Because I've already had one consultant, their pizza went right off the stone and onto the other side, onto the grill, because they put the lip on the front side. Don't do that, okay? All right, so then literally you just take it and you just.
Wow.
You just kind of shake it and jerk it back. You don't want to be afraid. If you hesitate and you're afraid, your pizza will kind of just half go and half not. So let me.
Good job. I like the technique.
You look like a professional, like you're in the pizzeria.
I'm telling you guys, you should see some of the blooper videos. Oh my God, it was hilarious. Some of the blooper videos we had with the first peel, because that thickness and that smaller size totally made a huge difference. I also wanted to show you with a pretty loaded pizza, because I'm like, when you saw that, I mean, that pizza's, it's pretty loaded. Okay, well, I can't see it, hold on. I mean, it's really pretty loaded. You'll see when I take it out. It's pretty loaded. You know, so my recommendations to you guys are, when you first are starting to try it, don't load it quite so much so that you can get the feel of just like, you know, like you kind of do a jerk and jerk. Like it's kind of hard, like it's hard to give you an instruction other than just to kind of show you.
What's the oven temp, Anna?
I do mine at 475.
475. Wow. So it's
475 and 500 is what I do my pizza crust on.
And it's been
the pizza crust says 450.
and you've preheated it according to the directions. Like how many minutes normal?
What time is it? 10:30. I put it in there at about 10. You're supposed to only do it for about 30 minutes. I put it in there at about 10 till 9, and it's 10:30 now.
Okay.
But you're really only supposed to do about 30 minutes.
So you're really duplicating like one of those pizza ovens, fire pizza oven, brick line ovens that you're seeing at pizza parlors when you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you guys, like it is amazing. And I've also done gluten-free crust on there, and it does the exact same thing, because before all this and before COVID, I chose to eat gluten-free. And so like everything that I was kind of fixing was more of the gluten-free doughs. And so the King Arthur gluten-free, guys are gluten-free. The King Arthur gluten-free
you might want to consider hosting in the
recipe is
fall when
phenomenal.
you
It's really, really good. And it tastes good, and it works perfect on here as well. But again, you got to use the cornmeal. You have to use the cornmeal. The other one that they told us to potentially use was polenta, but then they said, no, don't use the polenta, use strictly the cornmeal. And putting the cornmeal in the flour sugar shaker, or the powdered sugar, whatever they're calling this thing now. The old time was flour sugar shaker. That works best because you get a nice even, like we were just kind of dumping it on, and it made it definitely a lot more crunchy, you know, in like spots where there was a lot more. This made it super easy. Okay, any other questions? Because I'll go on to the enamel if not.
I think we're good. I mean, I haven't seen anything else come up. So yeah, definitely move on to the enamel.
Okay, so I'd love for you guys to put in the chat questions about the enamel, because I know that there have been, again, quite a few. And while I'm waiting for those, I do want to show you this. So this is the other one that people have messaged me, text me, go, how do I get these things on and off? So the instructions, I think they are working on kind of improving them a little bit. And that, two big key points that you want to make sure when you're putting this thing together is so there's a screw right on each side. Those screws need to be vertical or horizontally lined up, you know, with each other. You can't have a screw here and then the other screw on the back side over here, because then your holes are not going to line up. Does that make sense? So like basically, like if I can hold it by either screws on each side, then I know those screws are lined up. Did I explain that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Second thing, you need to make it sure that it's in on this first, like just past this first little notch on each side. Once you do that, then all of your holes and your hook places are going to be lined up perfectly. So to put them in and to take them off, you literally you squeeze this. Here, let me do it like this. You squeeze this, right? You put it in the hole. You put it in, like, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to show you guys this. Let's see. You put it in like this, and then you just pinch and twist. And that's it. You just pinch and twist is the whole thing, is all that you do. And you can put food all the way up to this little hook right here, because you got to have room to pinch it and twist it. And if you have food all the way up to like underneath the hook part, then you can't pinch it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So pinch and twist.
That's
is
good.
how you do this. Just pinch and twist. Okay. Okay. Enamel. First of all, are there any questions, Patty?
Not so far on the enamel yet, or nothing else. Yeah.
All right, so the enamel. The enamel has been a blast, okay? I will be honest with you. I am very new to cast iron. I am Cuban. My mom didn't cook in Cuba, much less, you know, with cast iron. So when she came here to the States, it wasn't, cast iron was not what she was cooking on, okay? Even though I grew up in Louisiana. So cast iron is very new to me. So they kind of looked at me as kind of being the guinea pig, you know, on some of these things. Whereas like Emily is very well versed with this. She's got Le Creuset pieces, she's got cast iron pieces. She had a lot more experience than I did. So a couple of key things that you want to remember with any of the cast iron, it is any of the enamel cast iron. It is a little bit different than the regular, you know, the regular cast iron, okay? In that the regular cast iron, the non-enamel cast iron, you can preheat it without anything in there. The enamel cast iron, you need something in there, whether it's water, whether it's oil, whether it's onions, whatever it is. You got to have, so it's kind of like a rock crock in that respect, that you got to have a little something in there. It just, it performs much better, and then it just, the whole thing, it cooks a whole lot better. Wait, hang on a second. Our pizza's beeping at us. Okay, it's got a few more minutes. Let me. Okay, there we go. All right, the next thing is, don't worry about it if you burn something on there. I don't know if you guys remember the video from conference, like I was doing a scalloped potato and I was doing half the version because I was just testing it just to see, you know, how it would work. And then I went outside and started pulling weeds, and the weeds sucked me in, and I totally forgot about it. An hour later, my stepdaughter comes out, she's like, Anna, do you have something in the oven? I was like, oh my gosh. So we pulled it out and it was black. But the cool thing is, it totally cleaned up. Like just with the pan scraper, I let it cool. I mean, it literally all came right off. So the next thing is, if you soak this, only soak it for a little while and don't completely submerge it in water, because this is still a cast iron raw edge. And this, if this stays wet, this will rust, okay? You can put it in the dishwasher, but make sure that you take it out and you completely dry it. So the things that I have loved about this, obviously the Dutch oven, I did obviously a waste, you know, tire load of bread in this thing over this coronavirus pandemic and doing all these testing these products. You will love on the bread part. Let me show you that first. On the bread part, again, you're gonna take that parchment paper that you put in your quick cooker to proof your bread and pick it up and put it straight into here. So use the parchment paper to cook it in here as well. But make sure that you preheat this whole thing, because like Marie was talking about kind of like the brick oven stuff, this literally creates an oven within an oven. So when you preheat this whole Dutch oven and then put something in there, it literally creates like a compact oven. Kind of like, and I don't know if this is technically correct, but you know, like with our air fryer, how it's very condensed, you know, our little Easy Bake air fryer. So it's all condensed, and like your food just turns out so much crispier and better because there's not so much airflow around it, right? It's kind of the same thing with the Dutch oven, and that goes for bread, that goes for meats, that goes for anything. So for breads, make sure you preheat it. Same thing for meats. So I would preheat this actually, that I like, say, for example, my Cuban pork loin that I do, which is a marinated pork loin, I actually marinate it in here completely. So I'll marinate it in here for 4 days, all right? I pull it out. Now I do one extra step, and that is I take the pork loin and all the juices out, and almost all the juices, and I actually preheat it on the stove for a few minutes, and then I sear it, you know, all the way around. Then I put the lid on and I stick it in the oven. Even that, it still took way less time to cook than it did whenever I would do it like in the 9x13 baker of the stone. So the thing that I found with the cast iron is it definitely holds its heat way longer. Oh, you guys gotta do the pasta trick. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So get your water boiling with the, you know, with the lid on. Get the water boiling. Hang on. I made this crust thicker, so it's gonna take a little bit longer to cut. So just so that you guys know, that's 8 minutes so far that it has cooked, all right? And it's almost ready. Like some people would like it like that. I like it a little bit crunchier. Okay, so put the lid on your Dutch oven cast iron, put it on the stove, and get your water to boil. Now you want to put a little bit more water than what you would normally put so that this will work. Then take your, once it's like at a full boil, take your lid off, make sure it's still at a full boil, and then take your pasta and just slowly add your pasta in. Guys, the water continues to boil. It is the coolest thing ever. like ever. Now, if you just dump it all in, it doesn't, okay? But if you just kind of slowly add your pasta in, you know, whatever noodles you're using, the water will continue to boil. But you do want to make sure that you stir it, you know, good after that, because if not, what you first poured in will actually kind of stick to the bottom of the thing. But pasta in here takes way less time than it does in any other pot because it instantly starts boiling again.
Wow.
It's really cool. Really
Okay. So we have a question. This might be a good time. What would the difference be between the cast iron over the Rockcrock Dutch oven?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Part of it is preference. Part of it is aesthetics. Part of it is the way that you like it to look. But the other part of it is the cast iron is going to hold your heat. When you add your foods to it, your cast iron is going to hold the heat temperature at a more constant temperature much better than the Rockcrock. Now, we know that the Rockcrock stays hot, but it doesn't stay nearly as hot when we continue to add stuff to it as the cast iron. The other thing is the durability. The cast iron is going to be a lot more durable, especially if you're adding like big temperature changes. It's going to be a lot more durable than the Dutch oven, than the Rockcrock. And then the third thing was, what's the other thing? There was one other big difference. Oh, I know. So if you need, okay, so talk to your customers, guys, because if it's somebody who mainly uses the microwave as well, then the cast iron may not be the piece that they want. They are definitely pretty similar, but if they need a piece that can go in the microwave in addition to the stovetop and the oven, then you're gonna want, and the grill, okay, then you're gonna want to get them to get the Rockcrock instead of necessarily, at least for their first piece, instead of the cast iron. Because the cast iron obviously cannot go in the microwave and it can't go in the grill either, okay? Our traditional cast iron, actually, I don't know if it can or not. I think can our Lodge cast iron go on the, yeah, it can go on the grill. The enamel cannot, okay? It cannot go on the grill. The other part of it is, to me, just the size and shape difference. I prefer this shape over the round shape. I prefer this ovaler kind of shape over the round shape, but that's just me. I'm kind of weird. I kind of like more uniform like that.
Okay.
When you did our call for our team, you talked about the inside of the lid and the basting part of it.
Oh, okay, wait. Hold that thought because I got to pull the pizza out. And I got to turn you guys again so you can see. Hang on. Hold that thought before you don't let me forget. Because that's where I was going with the oven. Okay, can y'all see? All right, so then you just take this like this. You slide
Wow.
it underneath.
Amazing.
Hold on, I'm out of view. Woo, I mean, it's like it's trying to slide right out. So there it is, an eggplant and
Wow.
some tomato, kind of white and red pizza, right? All right, one other tip I want to tell you guys about doing the pizzas that I forgot to tell you is if you're like us and you have a big family and you're doing multiple pizzas, like we'll have 2 stones going in each oven, right? If you let it preheat again for about 5 minutes before you slide the next pizza on there, your crust will turn out just like this. And actually, I want to show you guys this. The crust will turn out nice and crunchy again. And this is what I want to show you guys. Like, can you see the bottom of that crust?
Yeah.
Like, listen, can you hear that? Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's the best crust ever, I'm telling you.
It's great.
So back to the bumps on this. All right, this was amazing. And I think this is why, and again, okay, so I'm Cuban. I've been doing a Cuban pork roast actually since I started cooking, which was when I joined Paper Chef, because I didn't cook before that. So, but it is a very traditional New Year's and Christmas meal for us. And then we'll do it periodically otherwise. I talked to Tim about the whole, like the whole bump part of it. And I honestly think the reason that my pork loin turned out so much more tender and juicier was because of these bumps. Because literally, if you think about it, it literally is almost like, like the big shower heads that you have, that give you a big shower. It's kind of like that with the moisture, because instead of all the moisture coming and pull into one part. So, all right, I'm kind of a science geek, so think about this. Sorry. If you have a lid that is totally smooth on the inside and you have it in your oven, right? If your oven is even tilted, I'm gonna be a little dramatic, even just a little bit like this, where it's not quite centered, then all of that moisture comes to this one corner and drips in this one spot. That's why sometimes you might find a cookware piece, you know, or something that you're cooking in, like totally burned in one corner, because it's probably more because your oven is just that slightly bit crooked, and fluids are gonna go to the path of least resistance, right? And so it's gonna go over here to this side of the lid and only drip on this side. But with this, the moisture literally just sits there and coagulates to each one of these little bumps and then drips down all over. So it literally is like raining down on whatever food you got in there. Doesn't matter what you got in there. Like it's literally just sprinkling down all over. So it helps it to cook more even and stay a lot moister than if it was just, you know, like all the liquid coming over to one side. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained that very well, but yeah. But the bumps are super cool. Super cool.
How can you preheat? We had a couple questions about preheating first without something in it. And so what did you put in it to preheat it if it was for the bread? So two different
for the
questions.
bread, nothing. That
Okay.
one, I put nothing in there to preheat it. That's the only one that I preheated in the oven. The other ones, when you're cooking on it, that's more when you're cooking on the stove. You don't want to put any of these pieces on the stove with nothing in them. Like you want to have a little something in them.
Okay.
And so, like there was one, I did a homemade creamed spinach for Easter, and I did it in the larger oval baker, and this one, okay. And I had to saute some onions, but I just I wanted to see what would happen. All right, so it was one of the first big things I was doing in here. And I didn't want to just put the oil in here. So what I did is I just put a little bit of water just so that I could see like how fast it would get like to the temperature and the heat that I needed. So remind me to tell you something on that. And so literally like the water just started to evaporate. And once it evaporated, then I put my oil in and I knew it was hot enough. I put my oil in and then I put my onions and then I started going right after it. So two big things with the stoneware. Don't be afraid to crank up the heat. But with the cast iron, like we had to learn with Rock Crocs, like how to make sure to turn the heat down a little bit, because once it reaches, like we crank it up and then it's like, whoa, you can't slow it down. Okay, cast iron's even more. Like there are no brakes on cast iron, okay? So you wanna actually turn it a lot lower than what you would normally turn it. Does that make, like crank up the heat on the stoneware, turn down the heat on the cast iron. Let that be something that's ingrained in your brain, and tell your customers the same thing. Because I'm telling you, cast iron has no brakes. It has no brakes whatsoever. Like you cannot cool it down fast enough if it starts to, you know, kind of overflow and go at it. So cast iron has no brakes.
Okay.
All right, what else?
Oh, they were talking about the peel and cutting on the peel, but I don't think you can.
I mean, you know, I don't remember them telling us not to or to, but I will tell you, it's just like the cutting boards. It's just like our acacia wood cutting boards. If you do, it's going to mar it. Just know that it's going to mar it. It's going to mess it up. I probably would not. You know, it's just that easy for you to dump that onto a cutting board and cut it, because you're going to be taking out another pizza anyway, right? So just, you know, dump it onto a cutting board and cut it and go. Yes, Marie?
Anna, I was just going to say I read Cook's Magazine, and when they were doing the cast iron skillet pizzas, they always had you take it out of the cast iron, put it on a cooling rack so that your pizza actually stays crispy, because if you have it cooling on a solid surface, it's going to collect moisture and you're going to lose the crispiness. So the technique was to cool it on a cooling rack so that, and then switch it to your cutting board to cut or back in the.
That's for pizza, Marie? That's for pizza in the cast.
Yeah,
breads in general. Yeah, for any breads in general, because you think that moisture gets trapped between the bread and the cooking surface, and it will, it'll make it moist. Typically, we eat the pizza so fast that it doesn't really matter.
Right. But the technique is to put your pizza on a cooling rack for the couple minutes, then flip it to a cutting board to cut it up.
Okay, good.
I want to show you guys one other thing while you're looking at questions. Hold on. If you guys have not played with these, okay, if you have not started using these every day in your kitchen whenever you're fixing food, even the smaller one, if it's, you know, just you and one other person, you guys have got to get using these and do some videos with these, because it is these, I am like, I am in love with these. So yesterday was my birthday, and so everybody cooked dinner. I had nothing to do with it, and my daughter was here. She surprised me. She made steamed broccoli, and she's like, Mom, what can I bring the broccoli to the table that, you know, it's not going to take so much room? And so I pulled this out, and she put the broccoli in here. Well, then you know what? My family's so lazy. They hate washing dishes. They just put the whole thing in the refrigerator, just like this. So now I figured out a whole new use for this, is that it could be a storage container also, you know? And so, like, the broccoli was ready before the steaks and stuff were. So we sat at the table, and my daughter was like, oh, she's like, man, she's like, the broccoli's going to be cold. I was like, we are good. So I actually took a video, and it was 22 minutes after she put it in here. And I had to get somebody to hold the bowl so that I could lift the lid, because there was so much heat in there still, and it created like a vacuum, and I couldn't get the lid off. Telling you guys, y'all need to use this at your, like, on your demos, and like show this on your parties. Make sure this is a feature that you're showing. Even like, I thought about like taking a picture or a video of the time, you know, when I'm putting it in, and then showing a video of with the time again, you know, when I'm lifting it up. These are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Love those.
Love that. Okay, I did see one other thing here. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay, if for any reason we can't leave the pizza on the stone. Oh, wait. No, that wasn't it. Here, so you slide the cooked pizza onto a cutting board to cut it, then you transfer it back to the peel for serving? That was a question.
Just leave it on the cutting board is what I think.
Okay.
I just leave it on the cutting board. And I think, you know, I wish, well, the other thing you could do is you could, here's an idea. I hadn't thought about this. You could cut it on the stone. I mean, not cut on the stone, cut it on the cutting board. And then you might even be able to get it back on the peel, like, because the peel's thin enough, like it's pretty malleable that you can kind of get it up underneath there, and then put it on the large round entertainment stone. Like that might be really pretty. So like if we ever get back in the homes again where we're cooking for people again, that might be a pretty presentation way to do it, you know, is to put it in just to show another piece. You know, you could even preheat that stone a little bit and then put the stone, you know, put that pizza on that hotter stone. Just an idea, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work, but it'd be something fun to try.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Tina. Tina was talking about putting, she did a birthday nacho bar for her son, and they put cheese sauce that she made in the blender in the small bowl, and then use different meats in the large bowl. Good idea.
Have fun. All right, was there anything else that you guys had questions about, or
Ask now, I know. Anna is on a time frame. Should we have just, what, about 20 more minutes?
About 22 more minutes.
Okay, 22 more minutes. So you guys, if there is anything else that you want to hear from her, do you have to put hot water in the bowls first, or just add? No,
you just put it in here. Corey, you just put the food in there. Like literally, like I just pulled it out of my cabinet and I just stuck the food in it.
And it keeps it hot without any water, any hot water in there.
No water.
Wow.
You don't add anything to it. Kind of think of it like, I know we're not supposed to say this, so don't repeat this, but like think of it this way. It's like a Yeti bowl, okay? It's just like our insulated, you know, our wine cups that are insulated. It's just an insulated bowl.
Yeah.
So whatever you put in there, it's going to keep it hot, it's going to keep it cold. Now, they did say that if you wanted to use it for cold stuff, like you could put this in the freezer and then put cold stuff in it. But honestly, I don't plan on, I'll answer that question if somebody asks it, but I'm not going to volunteer that information because I would rather get them introduced to the cold and serve pieces, you know, instead of, and that way, you know, again, it's another sale, and it really is different. Like, I think that things in the cold and serve are going to stay a whole lot colder than they are in here. They're not going to, you know, they're not sitting on ice in here. So that's just my thought.
Okay. Can you reheat in the bowl?
No, you cannot. Because this can't go in the oven, and it obviously can't go in the microwave, and it's got this silicone edge on the bottom, so you can't put it in the oven. So no, and this is like I say plastic, it's some type of, you know, BPA free, you know.
Oh, is it not dishwasher safe either?
No, I don't think it is.
So it's a hand wash.
Okay.
But guys, it's so easy to
Yeah.
hand wash. I mean, it
Yeah,
really
that
truly
looks.
is.
Oh, it is hand wash. We're getting some
Hey,
things, not
especially
dishwashers.
when they put the leftovers in it. You know, it goes in the fridge like that. You know, like not just a storage container.
There you go. All right, we had a question from Nancy Francis. Can you cook frozen thick pizza crust on the preheated stone without getting thermal shock? And if so, does it cook the same as the old stoneware?
They are saying that yes, you can. That yes, you can put the frozen pizzas on the pizza crust. Now, Nancy, I don't know where you are, but I'm sure you can't do like the Giordano's big old thick crust. I'm sure you can't do those. I think they're talking traditional from the refrigerator, you know, I mean, from the freezer section, grocery store ones that, you know, are thinner than like a big stuffed, you know, pizza. But they're saying that yes, you can. I'm not a big fan of frozen pizzas. So I'm sure that if I got it and just tried it with my stepkids, they would probably be in heaven and love it. So I will try it and do some differences, you know, with the 2 ovens and 2 stones and just see what it does cooking wise. I know that, Nancy, I know that they said like with things like chicken nuggets and tater tots and french fries and things like that, that they saw absolutely no difference in cooking on a preheated stone versus a cold stone in a hot oven. They saw absolutely no difference in the test kitchen on that.
Oh, so that was a question that Kimberly was asking. Do you think there's a big difference cooking on a pizza on an older stone than a newer one? It seems like there's so many more steps on the new stone.
Okay, cooking a pizza on the older.
Is there a big
the only
difference?
Step
Yeah.
difference for a frozen. Is she talking about a frozen pizza?
I don't know. Maybe any kind of, I don't know. She didn't say. Oh,
Fresh.
fresh.
No. So the only difference in the steps, Kimberly, is that you preheat the stone. That's the only difference in the steps. You're using a few different ingredients, like you're using the cornmeal, and like I said, you want to make sure you're using a good bit of cornmeal and the fine cornmeal, not the coarse cornmeal, or you really will break a tooth. But really, the only difference, the only step difference, is that you're preheating the stone, which is what everybody's wanted, right? You know, that and being able to put it in the dishwasher. So that's unless I'm not thinking about something.
Have you ever just put the pizza crust on a cold stone and put it in the oven? Then is it not really baking quite right?
It's the bottom of it is going to be a lot softer. It's
Right.
definitely going to be a lot softer, and it's not going to be that crunchy. It's almost like, you know, when you get pizzas get them delivered, right? And they've been in that box and they're almost kind of gooey on the bottom. And like us old timers, we used to tell people, you know, just throw the pizza on the hot stone, although you weren't really supposed to do that because you weren't supposed to preheat the stone. Well, now you can say that with confidence because you can do that because it's not going to, you know, it's not going to hurt it. So,
Okay.
but that's kind of the way that bottom would cook. You know, it's like, we should have thought about that before, because I would have taken the pizza dough in the other oven and just stuck a raw piece on there on a cold stone and just showed you. And I'll do it and then send, you know, Nancy, Nancy, Joe, and Marie and Patty the pictures or the video so that you can kind of see the difference, because I have plenty of dough over there that I can.
Do you pre-season the new stones? Okay,
so that's a great question. So it all depends upon what you're cooking on it. So when I did our homemade pizzas, I did not, this is actually only the second time that I'm using this new stone, because the ones that we got, it was the new material, but it was the old shape. So it was the prototypes. And that one of mine is like black. It's like, I mean, it's been used a ton. The brand new one, this is the second time. And neither time did I put oil on it. Now, Jill, one of our other, you hear me okay? One of our other girls, hers stuck like crazy to the stone. And I don't know which pizza crust recipe she was using, but hers stuck. She's like, it tasted great, but it stuck like crazy. I haven't had that issue with my pizza crust recipe. I can tell you that I did in the very beginning, one of the first things that I did was crescent rolls. and they did not stick on the bar pan, but Emily did cookies, and on half she sprayed, on the other half she did. I don't know if Emily's on here to answer, but and her cookies did stick. So I would say if you want to err on the side of caution, spritz it just a tiny bit. But I can tell you, no fail, my pizza crust recipe, it doesn't stick. Now my pizza crust recipe isn't sticky either, like, I mean, my pizza crust is not sticky, like I can sit here and like, see, it's not sticky. So I would say if you have a stickier dough, then yeah, you might want to go ahead and spray a little bit. Because just think, sticky is gonna stick. Okay, so cookie dough is sticky, it's gonna stick. Crescent rolls are not as sticky, they have so many preservatives and oil in it anyway, like it's not really sticky, so it did not stick. So I would just err on the side of caution and spray just a little bit. But I can tell you, I haven't sprayed anything on mine, and I've done 2 pizzas now on this
Okay.
one, and nothing is stuck.
All right. Oh, that's,
Well, thanks for your insight with
Yeah,
the
this
new
is-
products
I
and
know, I
being
love
part
that.
of the testing and part of the committee. So I hear that, one, we should all make sure that our teams watch the Teach Me webinar on stoneware to fully understand the old stones, new stones, and what we have to teach them. And
There's some great training on Dash that we did also on the enamel cast iron that really talks about, and it'll help give you some word choices and help give your team some word choices, and those are on Dash. That those are a big help. Because I think that's the whole thing, is just embracing, guys, use it. Like, use it. Don't hesitate to use this stuff. But help your teams with word choices of what to say, because if they're newer cooks, or they're just newer in the kitchen, or they're newer to cast iron like I was, then help them with the things to say, like what to say that's appropriate, so that they're not having to backpedal with customers later.
okay. So I know we've had a lot of requests for your recipes. So I'm going to have to circle back with you and get dough recipe, eggplant recipe, Cuban pork recipe. So we'll get all those and we'll put them all with the video. Is that okay, Anna? I'm sorry, but they all sounded delicious to me. Like pizza
No,
sounds
I love
like
it. No, you'll just have to give my wonderful mom, who is an amazing cook. She grew up in Cuba not cooking a thing,
Yeah.
and came here to the States and had to learn how to cook from scratch. And so, you have to give her credit. She's an amazing mom. I love her dearly. And this is her Cuban pork recipe that she got from her student made from Cuba.
Can't
And
wait.
yeah.
Sounds
so
delicious. That
I'll
sounds.
throw the Cuban black bean recipe in there too. At the
Oh
same
yeah,
time.
whatever you got.
Anna, what's her
Cuban-
first name?
What-
Anna, what's your mom's first name?
Maria Elena is her real name.
All
Maria.
right, so we need to call it Maria's. We need to call it Maria's pork
Oh,
recipe.
there you go.
Yes.
We'll do
So we
that.
know
Maria.
exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
That's
she's-
right.
But
She'll
yeah,
get
I'll share
famous.
all those recipes with you, and the eggplant one too is one that it's actually her recipe. She created it
Oh, there you go. Now she's got an eggplant recipe. She needs a cookbook.
too.
She needs a cookbook, Anna.
Hold on.
You know what?
I
We
have
just-
a handwritten cookbook of her.
Oh, you need to scan it. You need to
Yeah.
scan that in for yourself and your family.
Oh, she does. After she made it for me, I was the one that she felt sorry for, because I got married and I really didn't cook. Like,
Yeah.
I put me a chainsaw and I was in heaven outside. Don't give me a spatula and tell me what to do with it. And so she made it for me, and it went untouched for about 2 years before
Wow.
I actually pulled it out, because that's when I joined Paper Chef, and I actually pulled it out and started using it. But it really went untouched for about 2 years. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anna, something before my mom passed away, she had my mom write a note to all of the grandkids. And my sister took all of her handwritten recipes and went and scanned them. And everybody got a cookbook from Grandma Lily with this handwritten note that was laminated in the front. And it's given at everyone's shower as the
Oh
first
my gosh.
gift. Okay. And my sister made like 28 of these books. But I'm telling you, it's so precious, and it's like everyone knows where that cookbook is, because they go into it. And I mean, she has some silly things in there too, that when we go buy it, it's, like her peach jam recipe on Sure Gel package. I mean, like, But she took the time to write a recipe card for it. But it was just precious because it's in her handwriting. So do that for your kids and your sisters and your brothers and whatever.
She's done that. Like she's given that cookbook, made copies of it, and given it to everybody as they get married or go off to college.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
It's really precious, and it keeps it as Nona's or Maria's or Grandma Gigi. Their recipes. Everybody knows where it's from. So, you guys, we have such a wonderful business. Oh, we encourage people in their lives every day. Praise God. It's awesome. Thanks, Anna. You did a great job.
Oh my God, you did amazing. Your enthusiasm, your excitement is beyond. You definitely rock out those regular cooking shows.
It's always fun. It's like Christmas, right? We get Christmas 3 times a year, not just twice a year.
Oh yeah, maybe you should come back
This
for
is
Christmas.
why
Do a cooking with Anna.
Gene Jonas said recently that, there are companies that are going under, like Sur La Table filed bankruptcy, but Pampered Chef is having like its best year ever. And she said, we have the 3 S's. Okay, S. Do you know what the 3 S's are?
No, but you're going to tell us.
Service, solutions, and social. We give people an opportunity to be social. We're giving them solutions. Like, I love the trick. I learned today that I could just put that glass bowl on the thing and go, Alexa, tell me how
that is the best.
cups of flour weighs.
My Alexa's trying to answer you.
Now, and the thing that my mom taught me, my Alexa was trying to answer too. But the thing that my mom taught me about the weigh compared to measuring is when you have your flour in your container for it settles. And that's why they have you, some recipes have you sift, because what you're doing is you're breaking up all those particles and putting air in between. Well, when you measure, it's always the same no matter what.
By weight, right.
By weight. I'm sorry. That's what I mean. But when you weigh it, it's 100% accurate rather than how long it's been sitting on your shelf and settling. And you know how when you move things and it settles down, that's what happens. And that's why weighing is so important. If we can teach people that, see, in Europe, they only weigh. They do not measure. So, so if we can teach people, again, that's what Maria is talking about. We're bringing service and we're bringing instructions that they're not getting from elsewhere.
Yeah, and the other thing, Nancy Jo, is I love our stainless steel colanders. That's what I sift my flour with. When I'm making my cookies, I hold that stainless steel colander over my bowl, and I do my flour right into there and just tap it, and all of my flour gets sifted at once, and I think those little cooking tips and solutions are what makes us stand out, and us teaching our teams all this. Can you imagine how great our pizza parties are going to be? I think. And
just read an article. Wait, Marie, I just read an article the other day that was talking about the number one thing that people were making more of since the coronavirus was pizzas. So think about it. We've got a solution for breakfast pizza. We've got dessert pizza. We've got regular pizza. I mean, like, we've got pizzas coming out of our ears, and we've got the ways to do it, right? So, I mean, like, you could do a whole day of pizzas, right? Or a whole day of stoneware, because you could start with a breakfast pizza, then you could do a regular pizza for lunch, and then you could do a dessert pizza. I mean,
love that.
We've got pizza all over, but they were saying the number one food that families were cooking the most was pizza, which I thought was really cool. We've got the products to do it.
I think that, like, remember that technique when we were doing the flatbread pizzas on the grill stone, and they had the frying pan on the stove with cherry tomatoes. And if anybody grows tomatoes in the summer, they have more cherry tomatoes and they know what to do with it. And just that simple technique of leaving them alone in the saute pan to get sweet and roast. And then you have that you could use on a quick topping, like the pizza that you just showed us with ricotta. And oh my gosh, this will be such a fun September show. Such a fun September.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you guys, like, I know, like, I try to get all my packages ready to mail, because I do still send out catalogs to customers and, like, gifts and stuff too. Is I've used this like crazy to weigh. like to weigh my packages, you know? So, I mean, I've used it for meat. I mean, I've used it for way more than just, you know, just flour and salt and, you know,
Yeah.
all of those.
Nancy Francis said to use the scale for cake, for your, cake pans, weigh the batter. So
yes,
perfectly even cakes.
yes. In fact, that's so funny that you said that, because like I was doing this homemade chocolate cake for my stepdaughter for her birthday, and I had to divide it into two things, but I had parchment paper in there, so I couldn't really tell where it was. And that is exactly what I did. I did put the 2 cake pans on there to make sure that I had the same amount of batter. I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about that, but I did.
Very cool.
Thanks for
Love it.
jogging my memory.
Love it. I don't know if we have any other questions, but I think we're ahead of schedule for you, Anna. I don't know if anybody else, but honestly, let's see, somebody else? Nope. Okay. I just want to make sure that if anybody has any other questions, we have Anna live right now. But you have just everybody is going to be sharing this with their team. This is a video that we can share with everybody. You have done an outstanding job. You've gone above and beyond. I love it. You are the perfect person to actually be on that committee. So,
well, I'm very blessed to have worked with 3 other amazing powerhouses. You know, Emily, Jill, and Carolyn were phenomenal. And I mean, the 4 of us worked really well together, but there's some big powerhouses there. And it was, and Jackie was great in leading us too. So, I mean,
okay.
I was really blessed to be a part of it. And I mean, blown away that I was chosen to be a part of it.
Yeah,
and,
just amazing.
And
so
also,
wait, we have a couple more questions. Enamel susceptible to thermal shock. Is enamel susceptible to thermal shock?
you know, I don't think so. I don't think so, because like,
I don't think
no, I don't think so. I think the enamel is, but you know what? I'll find out. I'll throw that on our little group chat and find out. I don't think so.
And
guys,
can you
yeah, this is Nancy Francis. I think I saw in the video that it is in the fact that it can chip the enamel off. So yeah, there's something with that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So you may want to check that.
I will, because I did the dash videos on the enamel cast iron, and I definitely don't remember that being.
If you Google it, it says that ceramic coated cast iron is susceptible to cracking or loss of enamel from thermal shock.
So what would thermal shock on enamel cookware look like? Like, what would you be doing that would cause?
You would put it in cold water, hot pan in cold water, and it would craze the outside of it. But that makes sense. I mean, if it's cast iron, you wouldn't put a hot cast iron in cold water. I mean, I think they probably have to cover all their bases on that. But I'm pretty sure I saw that. Let me see here. I take a roasted almond and pour it in water and it gets dry. Is that thermal shock? No, I think it's like cold water, an empty pan. But I could be wrong. But I thought I saw that on the training that I took. So I don't know. I could be wrong. I was just watching a lot of stuff.
I just want to show everybody this. This is something that I got from Jim's grandma.
Put it in there.
And it's been like 100, I don't know if it's 75 years old or 100.
I put all the attachments in there.
I prefer the
wow.
The email with everything.
And it is just like, you know, what she was talking about, like the cast enamel.
Marie, hold on, Marie.
Is it not all in there? Because it should all be in there. I attached everything.
The email itself.
Some people are.
Okay.
Wait,
So I had
hold on, I'm
issues
gonna mute.
attaching things and it kept saying that there were.
Okay. If you guys need to talk, then just unmute.
No, I was just bringing this up as I was so excited to see our enameled cast iron, because this thing I have been cooking with for years, and it was Jim's grandmother's, I believe. It is ancient history from Holland, and you can look it up. So I think we're on trend with this being such a proven way of cooking. And if you compare us to like Le Creuset, you said something on our team meeting that you did not say about looking into the prices. Do you mind sharing with everyone?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You're on mute, Anna.
Okay, sorry, and I had to walk outside because our housekeeper was vacuuming and I couldn't hear. So, yeah, so we couldn't make this claim officially on any kind of recorded video like for home office, but the bottoms of our cast iron are thicker than Le Creuset, and the price point of our enamel cast iron is way lower than theirs. So definitely look at the price difference because it's tremendously lower. But at the same time, I will tell you guys, their site has some amazing recipes. So like if you're new to cast iron or enamel cast iron and you're trying to think, okay, what do I start cooking, with this? Go to the Le Creuset site and they have tons of recipes that are phenomenal too, and they're beautiful examples too of things that you can cook that are just different. And that's kind of what I had to do because I was very in a box of trying to think like what do I cook on here? Like I've never had cast iron, much less what do I cook on it. And so that's kind of a good start for you if you need to go somewhere. That's a good place to start. But yeah, that's the biggest difference is the bottoms of ours are much thicker, which means it conducts the heat a whole lot better. And then they're a lot less expensive too. How do you spell that kind? Le Creuset, it's L-E and then capital C-R-U-E-S-E-T, I think is how you spell it.
Right. And I think that's a beautiful thing that our price point at full price is less than theirs on sale.
And then add the post half price in. And yeah, it's definitely well worth it.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. You did great.
Gosh, you did great, Anna.
As a little sneak peek ahead of time, Nancy Jo, you have somebody in the works for next week that do you want to say anything about next week, Monday's call? She's muted.
Oh, should we unmute her? Okay. Will the
All right.
real Nancy Jo please stand up?
Yes. Yes. Hey, everybody. I have to confirm, but Laura Teal is going to show us how she does a ton of recognition on her people's Facebook pages. Many of you have gotten, this is something I do, Patty does, Marie does, Paula does. Laura's going to show us what she recognizes on people's Facebook pages, where she finds the reports, where she finds the information. And she's going to show us how she creates that and does it on a regular basis, the things, that she does just to make people feel very special. So,
love that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this is something that you can do, whether you're a small team or a large team. It's just a great way to recognize people in front of their friends and family and their customers. And it's not them saying what they've done, but it's their upline, their friend, their peer, their director just giving applause. And I think it's really a great thing to do. I know it's one of the most important things I do. So.
Well, that is great. Nance, we have a little bit of housekeeping to just sort of put out there and maybe make a decision by next Monday's meeting. The following 2 Mondays, the first 2 Mondays in September, one of them is Labor Day. And then the next one, you and I and Patty are going to be at Chairman's Circle. So we either need to nominate somebody to run this call for us or skip 2 weeks, or not skip Labor Day, but how many people would be available or would rather skip Labor Day Monday?
Yeah, I think we need to, I think we need to make that decision to skip Labor Day because I think everybody needs to focus on their family. And I think we have been giving people so much information that if you feel like you need more training on that morning, you go into PC training and watch something that maybe you missed. I think everybody, I don't know, maybe it's
Good call, Nance.
Here, but yes, everybody needs to focus on their family. If you can do as much training as you want any time of the day or night. So the next week we will see who's going to step forward and take charge of this call, because we have some dynamite leaders out there that I know that can do that. So who wants to do it? calling all leaders. So yeah, we'll be at Chairman's Circle, learning new things. We've got Brandon Barber, right? Am I saying that right? No, not
Oh,
Brandon.
Rory Vaden.
Rory
Rory
Vaden.
Vaden.
Rory Vaden.
Yeah, a favorite.
Coming. Yes, favorite. To just engulf us with his knowledge and great things to be able to bring to you. So very excited about that. Very excited. And we're going to be at Marie's. Marie has opened up her home, and a few of us are coming to Marie's to spend Chairman's Circle and Executive Summit together. So thank you, Marie. People were coming to my house originally, and we were going to have a fun Florida time. Yeah, sorry.
Florida.
Speech isn't quite right yet, but Marie said, I'll do it. So thank you, Marie.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So we'll be here next week, but not the following week.
Okay.
And
Well,
we probably need another person or two to step up. But you know what? I was talking to Marie, and here's a question for all of you. You guys can put a little message in the chat. Just like we had Becky come on with a great idea, do we just want to open up half of these calls to share from you all? I mean, we're trying to make sure they're really valuable in using your time, but some of you have, I mean, all of you all have great ideas to share. So should we maybe make half the phone call just a sharing time of what's working in your businesses?
You know
do
what?
think?
Oh, you know what, Nance? I want to make a comment because Cora brought this up. So I don't know if everybody else has it yet. I just got it, the new Facebook. So trying to transition to the new Facebook, I'm kind of, well, I mean, it's a new thing going on. So I keep wanting to go back, but it said that, and I think, Cora, is this right? That it says that it will officially be on September 1st. I think everybody's transitioning to the new Facebook. I don't know if that's right or not. I haven't got a notification. I mean, I did get a notification that I have the new Facebook, but I'm not sure if that's a thing yet. Everyone will be switched to the new Facebook in September is what Becky's saying. So that might be a really important call with all of the, I mean, I haven't worked through, I mean, literally it's been, less than a week that I've had this. So I don't know if
I think we need to talk about that and the things that we come across. So there's our two topics for next month.
And if somebody's been on it long enough where they can work through virtual parties and whatever, getting back to your business page. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is struggling. And Cora's asking, could we go over it next week?
Yes. Yes. We will put that in.
Okay. So we'll have to, if anybody wants to volunteer, has anybody been on it for a while that feels like they're comfortable enough? And I'm seeing a lot of shaky heads. So no. Is the
Patty?
Yes.
Anna uses it. She's been using it for a month or so.
Okay.
Or actually longer.
Yeah.
Anna Luck, she's been using it for quite a while.
Yeah, that's true. She does.
Okay.
I do know that, Anna. Yeah, I do know that about you. I know that you're using it. So I don't know how you feel about,
No, I mean, I don't know everything about it yet, but that'll be a nice little challenge for me to kind of learn. I mean, I love it. I totally love it. And I can definitely walk through the basics for sure. And I'll try to learn some of the newer stuff, like on your business page of, like Bobby showed us like that one time of like being able to make notes and stuff. But no, I mean, I'm more than happy to kind of walk through what I do know.
Okay. That might be really good. We might need that.
Yeah. But you guys write down little tips that you're coming across on the new Facebook thing that you can share, and little things that you come across and go, oh, okay, that's how you do that. Write those little things down so that over the next couple weeks of calls that we can be sharing, and we all don't have to find out and go through the same thing, the hard way if we can share it together. Because together, everyone achieves more. Woohoo! We've heard that one before. Awesome. You guys are the bomb. You are just the best. And I'm so proud of how hard everyone is working and how everyone is staying. I mean, I know that we're all really frustrated, guys, but it's a time that this too shall pass. It's coming. They're working crazy hard at the home office. 80% increase in the amount of things we're going to be able to ship with those 2 extra lines, you guys. So just hang on. And here's something that on a director level, here's something that people, I'm sure that you've been getting these emails just like I have, that, oh, I'm so frustrated. I think I'm going to hang up my apron, da, 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 da. You just need to say, I understand your frustration. And really, I know we all do. It's not a lie. But you need to tell people you never make decisions in the middle of a hard time. So you need to hang on. If they need to just not do parties for a little bit so that they're not frustrated more, then do that for yourself, but don't quit. Wait till we come through in just a month or 2. We're going to be on the other side of this. And we've already been through how many months? I mean, when you think about it, it's been, struggling since April. So that's April, May, June, July, August. We have already been through 5 months. In 6 weeks to 8 weeks, we are going to be on the other side of this.
Yes.
And that's a hopeful. That's with all the best laid plans of everything that they can possibly foresee. Nobody has a crystal ball. So we just need to encourage our people to hang on. PC, the way we knew it, will be back. But more importantly, it's going to be even better because of all the things that we've gone through and we've learned. So just really encourage people just to hang on. You might even need to do it as a text replacement. If you're getting a lot of them, just make up a text replacement that you can send people and just understand, be very empathetic, but at the same time, tell them, hold on, you never make big decisions about your future in the middle of a tough time.
Yeah. Good
So,
advice, Nance.
Thank you. I know I've been getting them, so I'm sure you've all been getting them, and it's, you know what, it's really interesting. It's mostly people that are dabblers. They're hobbyists in the business. It's most